A waiter once wheeled a silver cart to your table, lifted the dome, and carved your dinner right in front of you. That moment is gone now, and almost nobody noticed it leave. Steakhouses used to serve meals built on fire, theater, and patience, dishes you simply cannot order in America anymore. Tonight we bring back 20 of them. One disappeared because insurance companies got nervous about open flames near tablecloths. Another vanished the day frozen shipping made a whole ocean creature too costly to serve fresh. A third didn't die from cost at all. It died because customers stopped wanting to wait. Stay close, because the dish at number 1 explains why steakhouses wore white tablecloths in the first place. Before we start, drop the number of these meals you personally remember eating. I read every comment, and tonight's list is going to test your memory. America built its steakhouses on ceremony, and ceremony is expensive to keep alive. Every dish on this list needed a person, a skill, and a few extra minutes. 3 things that modern dining quietly decided it couldn't afford. Keep that in mind as we count down. Number 20, the Relish Tray. Before a single order reached the kitchen, a small tray appeared at your table without being asked for. Pickled beets, celery sticks, radishes carved into curls, a scoop of cottage cheese, maybe a few olives resting in ice. This was the steakhouse saying hello. Families picked at it while deciding on their entree, and it cost the restaurant almost nothing, yet it made the whole table feel taken care of. Portion control menus killed it in the 1990s. Free food, it turned out, didn't survive spreadsheets. Number 19, Salisbury steak platter. Ground beef shaped like a steak, smothered in dark onion gravy, served with mashed potatoes that had actual lumps in them. This was the working man's steak. Cheaper than sirloin, filling as a Sunday roast, and proud of what it was. Diners and small-town chop houses served it through the 1960s and 70s for under $2. It didn't disappear because people stopped liking it. It disappeared because nobody could explain to a modern customer why a steak made of hamburger deserved a menu spot. Number 18, cottage fries. Thick, hand-cut, pan-fried rounds of potato, crisp on the edges and soft in the center. The side dish that came standard with almost every plate before shoestring fries took over. They soaked up gravy the way a napkin never could. Frozen, pre-cut fryer fries replaced them because they cooked in 90 seconds instead of 9 minutes. Speed won, texture lost. That trade-off, speed over texture, is small on its own. But keep it in your head, because it's about to repeat itself with something far more dramatic than a side of potatoes. Number 17, the salad bar trough. Picture a long steel counter under a sneeze guard, iceberg lettuce in a deep tray, bacon bits in a metal well, a dozen dressings in glass jugs. You built your own salad and carried the plate back yourself. It felt like abundance. Health codes tightened, buffet-style service fell out of favor after food safety scares in the 1990s, and pre-packaged side salads took its place, smaller, sadder, and sealed in plastic. Number 16, Popovers with honey butter. Hollow, eggy rolls that puffed up like little balloons in the oven, cracked open at the table and filled with steam. A dish of honey butter sat beside them, softening in the heat. Steakhouses in the Northeast made these a signature, especially chains chasing a colonial tavern feel. Bread service like this required a baker on staff. Most restaurants today buy rolls by the case instead. Number 15, the baked potato cart. A cart rolled table to table, loaded with sour cream, chives, bacon bits, shredded cheddar, and butter melting in a silver dish. You built your own potato while it was still steaming. It turned a side dish into a small event. Labor costs made rolling carts too expensive to staff by the early 2000s, and the potato went back to arriving pre-topped, alone, and forgettable. 5 dishes down, and every single one disappeared for the same quiet reason. Someone decided a customer's time mattered more than a customer's experience. The next 5 prove that decision even reached the flames themselves. Number 14, Steak Diane Flambé Tableside. Pan-seared and thin, the filet was almost an afterthought next to what happened beside your chair. A sauce of mustard, cracked pepper, and brandy, set on fire the second it hit the pan. The flame wasn't decoration. It cooked off the alcohol and caramelized the sauce in seconds, and the whole dining room turned to watch. This dish peaked in the 1960s supper club era, when a good steakhouse doubled as dinner theater. Fire codes and liability insurance ended tableside flambé in most American restaurants by the 1980s. The taste didn't disappear. The nerve to serve it did. Number 13, Cherries Jubilee. Dessert arrived the same way dinner did, on fire. Cherries simmered in sugar syrup, doused in brandy, and ignited at the table, spooned hot over vanilla ice cream while it was still smoking. It turned the end of a meal into an occasion worth remembering. Once the same insurance concerns grounded Steak Diane, Cherries Jubilee went down with it. Today it survives mostly in old cookbooks and older memories. Fire wasn't the only thing steakhouses lost. Some dishes vanished not from danger, but from something far more ordinary: the price of the ocean itself. Number 12. Chopped Sirloin Blue Plate Special. Ground sirloin, hand-formed into a patty and grilled, arrived topped with sautéed onions and mushrooms, 2 sides included, all for a fixed price. This was the entry point into steak dining for families who couldn't afford filet but still wanted the steakhouse feeling on a Friday night. Blue plate pricing, one set price, no surprises, faded as menus grew fragmented and a la carte pricing took over in the 1980s. The special stopped being special. It just became a smaller portion at a bigger price. Number 11. The Stemmed Shrimp Cocktail. 5 chilled shrimp hooked over the rim of a tall glass, sitting in a pool of tangy red cocktail sauce with a wedge of lemon balanced on top. It was the classiest thing on a middle-class table all week. Shrimp prices climbed sharply once large-scale imported farming reshaped the seafood market in the 1990s, and what used to be a starter became a supplement you paid extra for, if the menu carried it at all. Number 10. She Crab Soup. Thick with cream, sherry, and real crab roe, this southern specialty arrived in a small cup before the entree, and Charleston chophouses built entire reputations on it. Real roe is seasonal and hard to source at scale, so most restaurants either dropped the soup or replaced the roe with imitation, and regulars noticed instantly. A dish this regional simply couldn't survive a national menu built for sameness. Number 9. Surf and turf with a whole lobster tail. Not lobster bits scattered over a steak, a full tail split and broiled, sitting beside a strip steak on the same plate. This was the dish couples ordered on anniversaries, the one that made the check feel worth it. Lobster prices doubled and tripled through the 2000s as wild catch tightened, and the whole tail version quietly shrank into a few small chunks of lobster meat, or vanished from menus completely. Every dish so far lost a fight against time, cost, or caution. But the next 5 didn't just disappear from menus. They disappeared from an entire way of eating dinner, one where the kitchen wasn't the only place food got cooked. Number 8. King Crab Legs, all you can eat. Steaming red legs piled on a platter, a bowl of drawn butter beside them, a set of metal crackers laid across the table like tools for a job. Steakhouses in the 1970s and 80s ran unlimited crab leg nights as a loss leader, betting most guests wouldn't eat their money's worth. Wild Alaskan king crab catch limits tightened dramatically by the 2000s, prices spiked, and all you can eat became a promise almost no restaurant could keep and still turn a profit. Number 7. The Prime Rib Carving Cart. A whole roast, ribs still attached, rolled out on a heated cart and carved to your exact preference right at the table. Rare, medium, well, your choice. Watched as it happened. Sunday dinners built entire family routines around this cart. It required a dedicated carver, a heated holding station, and enough volume to justify keeping a full roast ready all evening. Central kitchens replaced it with pre-sliced, pre-portioned prime rib kept warm under heat lamps. Cheaper to staff, but stripped of the moment where you watched your own dinner get made. If you can still picture that cart rolling toward your table, you're not imagining it. You're remembering something real that most restaurants decided wasn't worth the labor anymore. Number 6. T-bone or porterhouse for 2. One enormous cut, bone running down the center, strip loin on one side and fillet on the other. Carved tableside and split between 2 diners. It was built for sharing, for couples, for a father and son, for a table that wanted one showpiece instead of 2 separate plates. Portion science and food cost percentages made for 2 cuts a nightmare to price consistently, and most steakhouses replaced them with 2 individual smaller steaks. The math improved, the gesture disappeared. 3 dishes remain before the top of this list, and each one gets more dramatic than the last. Because the closer we get to number 1, the closer we get to the exact moment America decided watching your dinner get made wasn't worth the wait. Number 5. Steak Tartare, prepared tableside. Raw beef, finely hand-chopped, mixed right at your table with egg yolk, capers, mustard, and onion, by a server who did it from memory. No recipe card in sight. This dish demanded total trust. Trust in the beef, trust in the server, trust in a system of quality control that most modern kitchens can no longer guarantee at scale. Health regulations around raw beef service tightened through the 1990s, and liability alone pushed most American steakhouses to drop it entirely. What remains today, when it exists at all, is almost always pre-mixed in the kitchen, out of sight. Number 4. Caesar Salad, tossed tableside. Romaine, raw egg, anchovy, garlic, and parmesan, whisked together in a wooden bowl beside your chair while you watched every ingredient go in. Invented in Tijuana in the 1920s, it became a steakhouse ritual across the country by mid-century. Proof, in salad form, that even the appetizer deserved a performance. Raw egg liability concerns and simple kitchen efficiency eventually moved the tossing behind closed doors. The Caesar salad never left the menu. The moment of watching it get made did. Number 3. Baked Alaska. Ice cream wrapped in sponge cake, covered entirely in torched meringue, and set on fire the moment it reached your table. Cold and hot at the same time, in the same bite. It was less a dessert than a magic trick, and steakhouses used it to end the night on the highest note they had. It required real skill in the kitchen and real nerve in the dining room, two things that grew harder to justify as staffing thinned out through the decades. Most restaurants simply stopped training anyone to make it. Number 2. Filet mignon wrapped in bacon with béarnaise. The most tender cut of beef wrapped in bacon to protect it from drying out over the flame, finished with a warm, buttery béarnaise sauce made from egg yolk and tarragon. This was the steak people ordered to mark something: a promotion, a birthday, a proposal. Bacon wrapping by hand and fresh béarnaise both take real time, and most modern steakhouses replaced handmade sauce with a bottled reduction that only pretends to be the same thing. The filet survived. The care around it didn't. Number 1. Chateaubriand for 2. This is the dish that explains everything else on this list. A thick center cut of beef tenderloin, roasted whole, carved into thick slices right at your table, served with a simple sauce and often a side of potatoes done in the same pan. It wasn't just food, it was the entire steakhouse philosophy in one plate. Slow cooking, tableside presentation, a cut meant to be shared, and a price that told you this dinner mattered. When Chateaubriand disappeared from American menus, it didn't just take a dish with it. It took the last version of dinner that treated eating out as an event instead of a transaction. 20 dishes, and not one of them died because people stopped loving them. They died because speed became more profitable than ceremony, because insurance got stricter, because oceans got smaller and staffing got thinner. What steakhouses lost wasn't just food. It was the 15 minutes where someone cooked in front of you and made you feel like the only table in the room. You don't need a steakhouse to bring some of this back. A Sunday roast carved at your own table, a dessert lit on fire in your own kitchen. The ritual survives if you're willing to slow down for it. Somewhere in America tonight, a restaurant is still rolling a cart. It's rare. It's getting rarer every year. And once the last carver retires, nobody is training the next one. That's the part most people miss about this list. It's not really about steak. It's about the last places in the country where a stranger cooked for you slowly, on purpose, in front of your face. So here's the one thing worth doing. Find the closest steakhouse in your area that still carves tableside, and go before that tradition finishes disappearing for good. Tell me in the comments, which one of these 20 dishes did your family actually order? I'm reading every answer, and I have a feeling number 1 is about to bring back a memory you forgot you had.